What's up, traders? Welcome to today's Equity Empire Chart Analysis session. When most investors are throwing darts, we're looking for clues in the charts. Today we're going to be taking a look at the chart on Lightpath Technologies, symbol LPTH. It's a small cap technology company that provides optics and imaging solutions for defense and industrial applications. Now, I'm not going to get deep into the fundamentals today. This is simply going to be a chart analysis session. And I'm not even going to get into a whole lot of complicated chart analysis techniques. I'm only going to be looking at two things. One, what's the direction of the trend? And two, are there key support and resistance levels we can use for either a quick bounce trade or for a lower entry price for a longer term position? So let's get right into the action. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on the trend because even though we've had two pretty strong, powerful sell-off days here, we're still in an uptrend. We've got higher highs and we've got higher lows. So what I'm going to do next is going to be looking for support levels, okay? So I'm going to draw my first support level right here in the 907 to 830 price range, okay? It's an interesting level because it's right at the, just below the breakout point. I'm going to quickly draw this little breakout point here. Our breakout point was when we broke above that high and we blasted higher. It's kind of a market structure, a typical market structure type action where we might bounce off of that support level there. I've seen that happen multiple times in past setups that look something like this. But we're not going to go for just one. I'm going to look for another support level, give us a couple of different options to consider. So there's another support level right down here, right at the origin. So from December 17th until January 21st, stock doubled and went from 7 to 15, a little more than 100%, okay? And the origin of that big, powerful move was right here in the 7 range, and that's where our support level is. So I'm going to draw that level there, 761 to 680. So two support levels to consider for a potential bounce trade, okay? Now I'm going to draw a resistance level. We don't have to set our target here, but if you were looking for an area where there might be sellers start to show up again, look what the sellers did the last time we got to 15. It took a month to double, and it gave up half of the gains in 2 days. These small cap technology stocks can be very, very volatile, okay? So you got to be pretty nimble when you're trading them, and you don't want to just buy any dip at any price. And that's why I drew these two support levels, because they're kind of indications of where the big mutual fund investors might be stacked up waiting to buy a dip at a lower price. And we want to go alongside with those big institutional investors because they spend millions of dollars on research, and we don't have millions of dollars worth of research budgets, okay? So we just look for clues of what they're doing and go alongside with them. All right, so we got two support levels, one resistance level to consider for a trade here. This is not financial advice, but this is more of technical analysis tutorial about how you could set up a trade if you're so inclined, okay? So if you wanted to go for the first support level, thinking you might get a bounce off that level, maybe it might not pull back to either one of these levels. We might bounce back tomorrow, okay? Well, this is not, I don't have a crystal ball here, but trying to find a disciplined price range to buy a dip, you got to be patient. Patiently wait for a price to come back to a level that gives you more reward potential, okay? So you could potentially place a buy limit order right at the top of the upper green support level. Protective stop just below the bottom part of that level, and you can put your target. You don't necessarily have to set a target, but we found some big sellers knock it back down last time, and we could get some more resistance again next time. So a conservative target would be right in front of that resistance level. And this trade setup right here has got a little over a 5-to-1 reward to risk ratio. In other words, for every $100 worth of risk you would take, it's got $500 worth of reward potential, and that's a very favorable professional style trade setup there, okay? Very strong reward potential relative to the amount of risk you're taking, okay? Now, if you thought that, if you're thinking that you'd like to buy it at an even lower price, you can place a buy limit order at the lower level, top of the lower level, protective stop just below that level, drag the target all the way up to the same price, and that trade setup has a 7-to-1 reward to risk ratio. So it's got more reward potential relative to the risk you would take. Okay, they both have a similar looking price range of risk. Okay, but the risk of going for the lower levels, maybe it bounces off the upper level, and you might not get filled if you went for the lower level. Okay, so there's different kind of risks you want to assess in each one of these trade setups. Okay, so ideally, if you went for the upper support level, you'd be looking for price to do something like this, to continue heading lower, maybe tomorrow, maybe sometime this week, bounce off that level, and work its way back to that resistance level. That would be ideal if you went for the upper support level, okay? And if you wanted to go for the lower support level, you would want price to come, I'll draw this one just for fun here. So if you went for the lower support level, you would ideally want it to do something like this. Okay, so two potential trade setups here to consider in Lightpath Technologies. All right, so let's wrap up today's session. Hope you got some value out of the session. I'll be back every day this week now, so going to do these trade setup videos more frequently. I want to share as much value as possible with all y'all, so make sure you stay tuned for more videos. I've got a lot more value to share with you in the days and weeks ahead. So let's wrap up the session. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you soon.